What if the people who seem impossible to get close to aren't guarded because they're cold, but because they've learned something about trust that most people never figure out? Have you ever met someone who seems warm, funny, even open, yet somehow you can never quite reach the center of them? You assume they're hiding something, but what if they're not hiding anything at all? What if they simply stopped handing out full trust the way everyone else does, and for a reason most people would never guess? By the end of this video, you'll understand why the most self-aware people trust almost no one completely, why this isn't the wound most people assume it is, and the final realization that changes how you'll see every relationship in your life. Let's start with the first hidden reason, because it has nothing to do with fear. Most people assume distrust comes from trauma. Sometimes it does, but often, it comes from something quieter, repeated exposure to inconsistency. Someone says one thing and does another. Someone claims loyalty, then disappears the moment it's inconvenient. At first, you excuse it. You tell yourself it was a one-time thing, but your brain doesn't forget patterns, even when you consciously do. Psychologists call this implicit learning, the mind quietly absorbing behavioral data long before you consciously notice a pattern. So when the 10th person shows the same inconsistency as the first 9, something inside you stops being surprised. That's not paranoia. That's pattern recognition finally catching up to reality. Once this shift happens, something interesting occurs. You don't stop trusting people entirely. You start trusting them conditionally. You extend warmth, humor, even generosity, but you hold back the deepest layer, the part of you that used to be handed out freely. To others, this looks like emotional distance. In reality, it's emotional accuracy. You've simply stopped mistaking early comfort for proven reliability. But here's where it gets more surprising. This kind of guarded trust isn't really about other people at all. It's about protecting your own perception. Every time you extend full trust to someone who hasn't earned it, you're not just risking disappointment, you're risking your own ability to read situations clearly. Cognitive psychology shows that once we emotionally invest in someone, our brain starts filtering their behavior favorably, even when the evidence says otherwise. This is called motivated reasoning. The more you want someone to be trustworthy, the harder your mind works to make the facts fit that hope. Self-aware people learn to notice this bias in themselves. So they slow the process down, not because they enjoy suspicion, but because they've learned that clarity requires distance, at least at first. This is why highly self-aware people often seem hard to read. They're not performing mystery. They're simply refusing to skip the step everyone else skips: observation before investment. And this leads to something even more misunderstood. People assume trust should be given as a gift, freely and immediately, and that withholding it means something is wrong with you. But trust isn't a gift. It's a conclusion. It's something you arrive at after watching how someone behaves when nothing is required of them, when there's no audience, no benefit, no pressure to perform kindness. Anyone can be pleasant during a good moment. Consistency during ordinary, unremarkable moments is the real evidence. Behavioral psychologists have long noted that character is revealed far more accurately in low-stakes repetition than in high-stakes declarations. A person who says "I'd never do that" to you tells you what they want you to believe. A person who simply doesn't do it, day after day, without announcing it, tells you who they are. Highly self-aware people learn to wait for the second kind of evidence. Not because they doubt everyone, but because they've been burned by mistaking the first kind for the second. Now here's something almost nobody talks about. This way of relating to people often comes with a strange kind of loneliness. Because when you stop handing out unearned trust, some people interpret it as rejection. They want the fast intimacy, the quick certainty, the immediate "I trust you completely." When you don't offer that, they sometimes walk away before the slower, more accurate trust even had a chance to build. This can feel isolating. It can make you wonder if you're the problem. But consider this: if someone leaves the moment they don't receive instant, unconditional trust, they were never asking for connection. They were asking for control. Real connection can survive patience. Only manipulation requires urgency. This is where the psychology becomes even more fascinating. Highly self-aware people don't actually distrust people in general. They distrust their old selves, specifically, the version of themselves that used to confuse chemistry with character, and urgency with importance. Every guarded instinct they have now was built from a lesson they already paid for once. That's not bitterness. That's memory doing its job. And this reveals the biggest misunderstanding of all. People assume that guarded, selective trust means someone is emotionally unavailable. But look closer, and you'll often find the opposite. These are usually people capable of enormous warmth, once trust is actually earned. Their caution isn't the absence of feeling, it's the presence of standards. They're not protecting themselves from connection. They're protecting connection itself from being wasted on people who were never going to honor it. If you've ever been told you're too guarded or hard to read, ask yourself something before you believe it. Are you actually incapable of trust? Or have you simply stopped confusing potential for proof? Because there's a quiet difference between someone who can't trust anyone, and someone who refuses to trust anyone who hasn't shown they deserve it. If this video is helping you see your own instincts differently, subscribe to Sinovatheory for more psychology that helps you understand yourself before anyone else tries to define you for you. Here's the final reason, and it's the one that changes everything. Selective trust isn't a flaw to fix. It's a skill most people never develop, because most people never had to. If you grew up around consistency, you never needed to study people this closely. But if you had to learn the hard way, through broken promises, sudden disappearances, or people who were only kind when it benefited them, you developed something valuable, the ability to separate performance from pattern. This skill will occasionally cost you speed. You won't fall into fast friendships or instant romances the way others do, but it will save you from something far more expensive: years spent inside relationships built on a first impression instead of real evidence. So the next time someone accuses you of being distant, remember this. You're not distant, you're accurate. And the people who are actually worth trusting will never resent you for making them prove it. Tell me in the comments, have you ever regretted trusting someone too quickly, or trusting someone too late? I'd love to hear your story. Until next time, keep observing, keep protecting your peace, and I'll see you in the next video.